Morena boys, today we're going to have a go at making a Maori bread. This is a recipe that was given to me when I was in my early 20s and had 3 boys and a husband, and I used to make all of our bread. It was given to me by an old Maori lady who had 13 children, and they were pretty self-sufficient, didn't need to go to the supermarket very often at all, if once a month even. First thing we need to do is sanitize our hands well and truly, because this is a real hands-on recipe. So warm soapy water or hand sanitizer if you've got it, on top of, in between your fingers and up your wrists a little bit, because this could be a bit messy. Okay? Make sure they're nice and dry. Right, first thing you need is about 2 cups of water, warm water, not hot, not cold, warm water, something that you could just put on the back of your hand and it's actually just warm, okay? And into that we'll put a teaspoon of sugar. Now I've already measured out half a cup of sugar because we're going to use that later, so I'm just going to take a teaspoon out of that, just going to sprinkle it in that warm water like that, okay? And then using the same teaspoon, I'm going to take a teaspoon of yeast granules. Hear that shaking around? Just from the supermarket or from Binin or wherever you get your shopping from. Teaspoon like that, and sprinkle that over the top. And now you're going to have to leave that for about 10 minutes before it works. So I'm going to put that aside and I'm going to show you that I've already got a bowl done. So it's going to look a bit like that. Goes a funny colour, and it's, oh, how can I get that into the camera? Anyway, that's as good as it's going to get. Okay, so we've just got that working there. Now I'm haven't got a real big bowl, so I'm just using this saucepan. It's a 5-litre saucepan. It's clean and tidy. And into that, I'm just going to, no sifting, just going to get my flour bin over here, and I'm going to use my cup measurement again. 6 cups of flour. Now you don't have to be real exact with this. 6 cups of flour, put a bit more in it. There you go, 6 cups of flour like that. 1, here's our maths, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one, 6. Put a bit more in this one because those other ones might have been a bit light. 6 cups of flour, so that's a lot. 6 cups of flour. Okay, put the lid back on that because, oh no, I won't leave it off. Okay, so we've got our flour in there like that. Now I'm going to put a pinch of salt, because my grandmother taught me a long time ago that everything needed a bit of salt to bring out the flavour. So a pinch of salt and my half a cup of sugar. So we're a bit conscious about using sugar these days, aren't we? Because it's the enemy. Anyway, we've got to use it because I don't like to have my bread too sour. So I'm just going to give that a light mix around. Make sure that the sugar's in with the flour. Not too, that'll do. It's going to get mixed in anyway. So I'll just try and tilt the camera down a little bit so that you can see into that bowl. That's it. Okay, so it's in there. And now into that, I'm going to tip this, and I might need some more water. This is a bit hit and miss because I'm not very good at exact measurements, okay? In we go. That's the yeast mix. And the reason why we put a little bit of sugar in that teaspoon of sugar, is because that's what yeast uses to feed on. Now, if you wanted to keep making rewana bread, you could keep a bit of this dough and feed it every day, and there you go, you've got your rewana that you can just start your bread mix yourself. But I can't honestly be bothered with that these days, and I can tell straight away I'm going to need more water, so I'm going to get it ready now. Keep it warm if you can, because why we need it warm is because that's how dough works, the yeast works, sorry, not the dough. It works in the warm. So this video is going to be made for you today in 2 stages, because it'd take too long for me to video the whole thing in one hit. And I'm still going to need a bit more. Don't worry too much if you put too much water in this, because all you do is just add some more flour till you get it right. And I'm having a bit more trouble the opposite way around of getting enough liquid in there. Okay? And you're not going to have to mix it too exact, because you're going to be kneading this a little bit. And that's the fun part, kneading. Okay? So we get this around in there, and we're going to tip it out onto our board or onto your clean bench. And then we're going to get all sticky yuck all over our hands for a bit until we get it nice and smooth. Okay, now I haven't even mixed that in properly. Whoops, that spoon's going to come out, because we're going to be doing that when we start pushing it all together, and I'm going to show you now. So we're going to put a bit of flour on our board, like so. And I'm going to have to tilt the camera down a bit more. We're going to put quite a bit of flour on the board. Put that over there. Just tilt the camera down a little bit more so we can see the board, not so much of me. And we're going to tip this mixture onto the board as much as we can get out of it. Remember I said I haven't got it mixed very good, and I was right there, I haven't. Okay, and onto the board. And we're going to end up by putting a bit of flour on our hands to start with. So I'm just going to get all that off because we don't want to waste it. I hate it when you're watching a cooking program and they scraping half the stuff into the sink or leaving it in the cans or whatever. So here we go. And going to put a bit of flour on these hands because I don't want to get them too yucky. Rub it together, and we're just going to start pulling this dough together like this. And if any bits fall off, you can just put it all back on again. Hope you can see this. And we're going to work this for a bit until it stops being sticky and starts to feel a little bit like elastic, really. It just starts coming together and it loses all of its stickiness. See, this is still quite sticky, but it's starting to come into a shape, okay? And just start pushing it together until we can start using this part of our hands to do it, but it's still a bit sticky. So this is where you just got to use a little bit of flour to begin with until you get the hang of it. And it's still sticking to my fingers. And at the same time, you're trying not to be too messy because you're going to have to clean this up at the end of it. So this is starting to come together now, and it feels quite nice. But I'm still not using the ball of my hands because it's just not quite where I want it to be yet. Okay, now I am. Okay? And at this stage, still going to take more flour. You might end up by using another whole cup of flour. Don't worry too much about how much you use. It's about getting the dough right. So all up, you could be using, you start with the 6 cups, but you might end up by using 7 or even 8 cups, depending on how much of that liquid you've got in the first place. Okay, now, it's starting to be a lot less sticky now, and it's going to still need a bit of flour, but it's not going to need anywhere near as much as what I had been putting on. So now I just need to keep my board a little bit floured, okay? Now, you're going to be doing this for something like 10 minutes, okay? Something like 10 minutes to get it right. Pushing it in, rolling it out with the ball of that part of your hand, and see how not much is sticking to my hand down that part. Okay, parts of my dough are still sticky, so still pushing it in and out, and I'm going to start using both. Okay, now as I'm rolling this out, I'm just going to give you the next part because I'm going to stop this part of the video shortly. So in my pot that I was mixing it in, I'm going to lightly grease that with a bit of oil, okay? Oh, that's getting really nice now. Lightly grease that with a bit of oil, and then we put the dough in it, and you cover it with either the saucepan lid or some Glad wrap, and then put a nice warm, a nice clean tea towel over the top of it, and put that back in your pot. Put the pot in. Have you got a hot water cupboard? Have you got a fire going, a heater going? It's got to be warm. Can't be in a draft anywhere. Can be outside if it's a sunny day on a nice table outside somewhere. That's where I usually put mine to rise. I've made quite a few of these during the holidays. Okay, so you can see how much we've got there, like that. Now I'm going to put that back in the saucepan, but I want to go and clean my saucepan first. And I'm going to put some oil in the saucepan so that the dough comes out cleanly when it's risen. Now you leave that in the pot until it is double, twice the size. And then I'll be back with the next part of the video.